Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm diving into the new Ann Wilson and Tripsitter Live in Concert Blu-ray. Let's see what this one has to offer. So it comes in a standard plastic Blu-ray case with no booklet, but the inside and the back of the case shows the set list and credits and some photos that are nearly impossible to see through this blue shaded plastic case. So anyways, in 2007, the Wilson sisters took off about a 2-year hiatus from each other and their band Heart over an incident the prior year between Ann's husband and Nancy's 16-year-old twin sons, where he was arrested and pleaded guilty to assaulting them. By 2019, they likely realized that they could not quite sell out the amphitheaters and make a shit ton of money with their solo efforts. So, of course, they reunited Heart for the successful Love Alive tour that same summer and are back out on tour again this summer. Hopefully all is good between them and their families again. So in 2023, Ann also recorded a new album called Another Door with her solo band Tripsitter and filmed a live show at Nashville's Brooklyn Bowl in July of that same year. The concert first appeared on PBS television in 2023 and has finally been released on Blu-ray this year. So I passed on going to see Heart on tour this year after seeing some of the YouTube video clips of Ann performing in a wheelchair and looking and sounding kind of weak. It kind of depressed me in the same way as when Genesis dragged a barely able to perform Phil Collins out there for one last tour a few years ago. Turns out that Ann was diagnosed with cancer in 2024 and successfully underwent surgery and preventive chemotherapy that year, thankfully. The main reason she states for performing in a wheelchair this tour, though, is that she just broke her elbow a few days before the tour kicked off and her left arm is in a sling. This all left me with a little trepidation about picking up this new Tripsitter Live Blu-ray, seeing that it was filmed only a couple of years ago, and Ann was already 73 years old at the time. Well, my concerns were immediately laid to rest as soon as Ann belted out that first, "Let me go crazy on you," during the show's killer opening number. Yeah, it wasn't perfect, but that certainly is one of the more difficult Heart songs to nail vocally, and she hadn't even gotten warmed up yet. The other thing that immediately stood out was just how fantastic her new band Tripsitter sounded. These guys really nailed the original Heart band vibe, much more so than the backing bands Heart has been trotting out on tour for the last couple of decades. They are more raw and muscular sounding, which really reminded me of when the original band members all performed together for Heart's Hall of Fame induction, and it was glorious. So seeing that Ann was touring in support of her new Another Door album, they would play 6 of that album's 11 songs. Normally this makes me a little weary as these solo albums are rarely up to par with their regular band's best stuff, but that was certainly not the case here, thankfully. The first new song performed was the ballad This Is Now, and although it is a pleasant enough song, it moved me the least from all of the new songs performed. Heart's Love Alive and then Magic Man came next and were awesome as usual, and did struggle a bit on some of the highest notes, but I was just stunned at how her vocals could still be so powerful at her age. I was a bit worried when I saw Alone on the set list, as it has become Ann's tour de force over the last few decades and really showcased her incredible pipes. I thought that she might just play some kind of alternate arrangement, perhaps in a lower key due to her age, but she said fuck that and flat out crushed it. I can get a little emotional like a teenage girl over music that really moves me sometimes, and I'll admit that my eyes were watering just a tiny bit at the end of this one. I mean, wow. The song sieged nicely into the Led Zeppelin folk rock classic Going to California, which features some gorgeous mandolin playing by multi-instrumentalist Paul Moak. Nobody covers Led Zeppelin quite like Ann Wilson, and this would not be the last time. The new song Ruler of the Night came next, and it's quite the heavy and trippy track. This would be a theme with the new material and this concert in general, too. So they ripped through two of Heart's biggest 70s blues rock classics next with Even It Up and Straight On, before bringing things back down with the excellent new symphonic ballad Miss One and Only. This would be your last dose of something fairly light and pretty, really, because for the rest of the concert, it's almost like Ann had something to prove still. We often forget that Ann Wilson was not just a classic rock and pop ballad queen, but she could belt out some serious hard rock and even heavy metal with the best of them, too. Reign of Hell is a fitting name for the next new song, as it starts off with some of the heaviest drop tune guitar riffs of the night that kind of reminded me a little bit of The Ballad of John Henry by Joe Bonamassa. The song eventually transitions into a darkly melodic section led by some heavily fuzzed out slide guitar work before eventually giving way to the Zeppelin powerhouse Immigrant Song. This choice proved that Ann was still fearless at age 73 and throws everything she has into it. Even while her voice strains and cracks a little a few times, while hitting those devastating high notes to eventually slay this early metal Zeppelin masterpiece. So just as I'm saying it can't possibly get much heavier than these last two numbers, Ann says Hold My Beer and kicks off what is perhaps Heart's darkest and heaviest tune, at least the second half, Minstrel Wind. The two guitarists really shine here with Moak rocking a Gibson Explorer and Warner strumming a Fender Strat that combine to create one of the best live guitar tones I've heard on this song since Roger Fisher and Howard Leese first did it. Next up is a supercharged cover of John Lennon's Isolation, which ups the intensity of this ballad in the same manner that Judas Priest kind of did with Joan Baez's Diamonds and Rust. The next two new songs are my favorites of the night. Tripsitter is a gorgeous, dare I say, somewhat proggy ballad that sees its original length nearly doubled here as Ann and the band turn it into a majestic Pink Floyd-like extended jam. Rusty Robots has a unique arrangement that features some grungy metal guitar riffs, a master class in cool drum fills, excellent lead and harmony vocals, and one of the most extraordinary guitar solos of the night. I waited anxiously to see what these two excellent guitarists would do with Barracuda, and they did not disappoint. It was hands down the best live version I've seen of this song in a long while, and the perfect way to bring this excellent concert to a close. So, unfortunately, the production quality of this Blu-ray is not quite up to par with the awesome performances. It appears that they literally just took the PBS television broadcast and stuck it on this Blu-ray, really with no additional audio remixing, video editing, or additional material. The only audio option included is an LPCM 2.0 stereo track, and although it did sound very good overall thanks to the uncompressed 2.3 megabps bitrate, it's pretty ridiculous for a recent concert Blu-ray to not have at least one good 5.1 surround option as well. The LPCM track was also mastered at a very low level, and I had to turn up my receiver significantly higher than other concert Blu-rays to compensate. The video was presented in 1080 HD with a widescreen aspect ratio and looks great overall, with some excellent detail and sharpness to it. For the tech nerds out there, the Blu-ray case says it is filmed in 1080p, but other sources such as Blu-ray.com list it as 1080i. The case also lists the audio track as being Dolby Digital Stereo when it is clearly LPCM 2.0. The lighting and stage show were very generic and minimal, but did create a nice enough atmosphere to really enhance the performances. The camera work was also excellent and provides several good angles from multiple distances and capturing some of the essential close-ups of Ann and the other band members doing some soloing. The set list shown here featured 16 songs and the concert runtime was only 1 hour and 22 minutes. Although two songs performed by the opening act, Annie Bosco, were unexpectedly thrown in at the end to extend the runtime another 7 minutes or so. As for my ratings of this concert Blu-ray, my overall production rating is an 8 out of 10. And my overall performance rating is also an 8 out of 10. So with this latest solo album and concert video with her band Tripsitter, Ann Wilson proves that at 73, she's still the most badass female rock singer on the planet. I went into this concert video with modest expectations, but I was completely blown away at times. Ann's voice is still absolutely remarkable, and the new Tripsitter songs hit just as hard as the classic Heart tracks I grew up loving. This band is the real deal too, bringing the power and precision that has been missing from some Heart tours of late. It's no wonder Ann chose them as Heart's backing band for this current tour. Good call, Ann. All right, that's a wrap for today. Let me know your thoughts on Tripsitter Live in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Please hit up those Amazon links below to support the channel and grab some of the DVDs and CDs I mentioned in the review. Thanks, and catch you guys next time.